listening to Nic'ed.
What in cousin fucking tarnation, Alabama Betty Crocker, Miss fucking Betty White shit is this? Holy shit.
On SkullFace Records Radio.
What's going on, my brother?
What's happening?
We are here for a Nic'ed, a special edition.
Yeah.
We're going outside of the realm of SkullFace Records Radio.
Yes.
We're going to local talent from Kentucky. A lot from Kentucky, but I can't say that we stick it here in Kentucky.
Nope.
Well, I stick some things here in Kentucky, but I can't say I stick to just the music. We got people from all over the globe on tonight's playlist. I don't like talking about it. I like being about it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm going to rock right into it, man. This is Scotty Saints and the True Believers. They're out of Portland, Maine. Heard it's cold up there.
I don't know. I've never been to
I heard there's a lot
Maine.
of camping going on up in Maine.
Really?
Yeah. Scotty Saints and the True Believers. This is called Better Days. SkullFace Records Radio. This next one, man, this is punk rock.
Punk rock.
Yeah, this is a band that I got the nudge from Sam King and 8 Up Records.
Yeah.
Most of the time when it comes from them, it's the raw dog punk rock, man. It's the good stuff. It's that passionate, it's that heavy drive music, man. It's good stuff, man. These guys are called Barking Mad. They're out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I guess that's right up north from Chicago. That's real close to Chicago, I believe.
Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Where they make cheese and beer.
Yeah, and coats, because it's cold as fuck. This is Barking Mad. Equal Opportunity. SkullFace Records Radio.
Right.
Ratbat Spider, if you look behind you, there's a record up there that 8 Up Records made with me. It's Nick Screaming Memories.
Yeah, okay.
And then it's this band, Ratbat Spider, actually from the Wisconsin area as well, just like Barking Mad. They kind of remind me of like a Kiss Misfits type style. Like they do kind of the same face paint and play the high punk rock.
Yeah.
Right here in Lexington, man, is a band that's kind of popular called Rat Bat Radio.
Yeah.
Okay, you see how the mix-up could happen?
Yeah, absolutely.
You can see how the mix-up could happen, people. I mean, shit. I'm only human. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to announce Rat Bat Radio from Lexington, Kentucky. And this is a song called
Change the Channel on You.
Man, could you change the channel?
Going with the humor of what just happened, man, I'm going to play both bands back to back. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, so we're throwing in Rat Bat Radio, Change the Channel on You.
Exactly.
And then we're following it up with Rat Bat Spider.
And, man, we might have to have a poll. We might have to have the battle of the Rat Bat.
Ooh.
Like, I don't know if anybody involved in the band would give a fuck. They probably would be like, no, that's stupid or whatever. But what if we had a Rat Bat Radio versus Rat Bat Spider poll? We play a song apiece. We have people tell us who's better or who they enjoy the most.
I love it.
I mean, they're both great bands.
Yeah.
They might tie.
Yeah.
But this is
Great
Rat
idea.
Bat Spider. This is SkullFace Records Radio.
Itsy bitsy spider, come up the water sprout, came down the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun, they dried up for the rain. Itsy bitsy spider.
I'm wretched from this world, still leaves me
This next band, we're actually going to try to be getting an interview over the phone over the next few days.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, this is Schaefer. Schaefer, we're going to be playing one of their songs here momentarily, but when we do their interview later on in the week, we're actually going to be playing several other songs during the interview.
Cool.
But here's a sample from an awesome band called Schaefer. This is called Social Justice. They're from right here in Kentucky, man. Turn it up, guys. SkullFace Records Radio.
Fuck that. You say I'm the Reaper. No, maybe that's you. You call me a bastard. Well, maybe that's true. Away with your bullshit. Go away, you're a slave. You say I'm mental, but I'm okay. What are you looking for? I'm seeking social justice. What are you looking for? I found a social riot. I saw you on the street corner. You sell your ass for a quarter. Anyhow, anyway, you will die anyway. And if you start trying, blah, blah, blah. Why do I waste breath talking to you? What are you looking for? Seeking social justice. What are you looking for? Found a social riot. You say I'm the Reaper. Today that's true. You call me a bastard. Today that's you. Away with your bullshit. Go away, little slave. You say I'm mental. Just a little today. What am I looking for? I'm seeking social justice. What am I looking for? I'm called a social riot.
I come in the studio the other day, and my dude back here, he's like, man, Scott hit me up. And Scott's this musician that plays for the band Kill the Curse. He sent me a few songs as well. I got to listen to a few of them, but Slim got to listen to, I believe, all 5. He sent like 5, didn't he? Man, the band fucking rocks.
Dude, they do fucking rock. And the cool thing about it is he's from Carter County, Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
Which is where I used to drive a school bus.
And then, boom, he lives here in Cynthiana where we're doing the radio station.
Right?
So what a fucking coincidence.
Right?
Yeah, man, his band just fucking rips it. Just like Schaefer, like the band we just heard before. We're going to have Scott in the studio.
Are we?
We're going to have him in for an interview. I don't know if anybody else from the band is going to be with him, but I know we're going to have him in this week.
That'd be dope.
When we have him in this week, we're going to be also playing 4 or 5 songs by his band, you know, just showcasing his band and what they've been doing. But this one, man, this is going to be Kill the Curse. This is Throwdown. They describe themselves as Southern rock heavy tone with a touch of talent. Everybody enjoy it. Kill the Curse. Throwdown. SkullFace Records Radio. This is the second time we've had this band in rotation. My boy Slim, when I told him the name of the song earlier, he kind of wiggled on me a little bit. The band's called Battle Royal. The song's called Fecal People.
And immediately I said, shitty people.
Yeah,
All right.
Yeah, because we all know fecal people, right? Like, and that's a kind of a sweet way to say it. You know, you walk into a store and you see somebody doing a shitty fucking thing. You know, instead of getting it, I'm just fecal people.
Fecal people.
Fecal people. That might be a nice little shirt, man. We might need to see if these guys, if we can, get them a shirt and send it to them their way or something like that. This is Battle Royale. This is Fecal People. SkullFace Records Radio.
We're going to have to make our own SkullFace shirts that say not fecal people.
Not fecal people.
Not fecal people.
Now I'm turning into fecal pickle. Fecal pickle. Man, these next guys is a great band out of Kentucky. Their name reminds me of some kind of legendary type 50s, 60s family rock band or something like that. Like,
really?
It's a glorious name, man. It's Diamond Phillips Band. The Diamond Phillips Band, right?
It sounds like somebody that's about to like sing at the Hop or something.
Yeah, or it could be a musical. Like, it sounds like a movie theme almost. Like, it's a great name, man. You guys knocked it out of the park with the name. Mm-hmm. This is the Diamond Phillips Band. This song's called Punch the Sky. SkullFace Records Radio.
Are you ready to rock?
next band, man, is a in-your-face, kick-your-ass, and bang-your-old-lady punk rock band. They're tough, man. I've been listening to their music for the last couple years now via 8-Up Records. It's another in-your-window assist by the 8-Up Records.
8-Up.
Yeah, the 8-Up Records gang, man. When they send them your way, they send them in flocks, man, and they send the good shit, man.
Yeah.
Very rarely do I get anybody that's recommended by them that's not amazing, that's not,
Right.
high quality, top of the notch type music.
Yep.
This next band is no different, man. This is Defiant State. This song's called Valkyrie. They're from Somerset, Kentucky, man. Turn it up. SkullFace Records Radio. I see my lady. She's actually live watching us on the Facebook right now. She's giving me the kissy face, so I think it's time for me to wrap it up, Slim. I think it's time for me to. I've been out all night doing this radio gig, man. You know how it is, man. We got to get home sometime.
Yeah, well, you got to get home sometime. I got to stay here and do loops and edit shows.
Yeah, you got a little bit more work to do. I got to rehearse music tomorrow for like fucking 8 hours.
Yeah.
With the power band.
Uh-huh.
They bring the heat when Side View's rehearsing. In here, man. We bring the heat inside these walls. Man, we're going to have to wrap it up, you guys. This is the last song. I appreciate everybody here with the hand nicked. Like I said, we're the Olive Branch is out tonight, man. We're just trying to get some bands out there that maybe you guys haven't heard, if you guys haven't checked it out. If you guys have any questions, inquiries about any of the bands you've heard tonight or any of the other bands here at SkullFace Records Radio, or you just want to tell me and Slim that we fucking suck or something, man, whatever you want to do, man, 859-588-6456. Hit us up. Let us know what's going on. You guys have a good night, man. This is the last song. This is Damn Broads. They're from Connecticut, man. They're a bunch of chicks that kick ass and have a really good band, man. We're going to have an interview with them live, actually, later on this week as well,
dude. Be cool.
Damn Broads. Looks do kill. Find all these bands on YouTube, man. Look them up on Spotify if they have anything, buy anything, man. See you guys next time. Take care.
We know inside you must feel so small, you mean I'm drowned in alcohol. Taking attention in any way, but they're not understanding what you say. When you sex for attention, look down. When you sex as aggression, look down. When you sex as weapon, look down. Look down. You release your ways, grab the eye, follow your shit like you're some kind of bride. The only impression that you give off is a dirty heart and focus on. When you sex for attention, look down. When you sex as aggression, look down. When you sex as weapon, look down. Look down. Soon you're losing into nothing, leaving you alone and disgusting. Eaten alive by this disease, the price you pay for it on your knees. When you sex for attention, look down. When you sex as aggression, look down. When you sex as weapon, look down. Look down.
Welcome to Gravedigger Radio Podcast, broadcasting live from the afterlife.
Hey guys, welcome to Gravedigger Radio. This is your host, Zach Gregory, hanging out in the studio with Jason.
Episode 3, I'm so excited to hear about the Fresno Nightwalkers.
Oh yeah, this is one of my favorite cryptids. But before we get started today, I want to plug our good friends at SkullFace Records Radio. That's actually where you'll be able to hear Gravedigger Radio Podcast for the first time. In the following days, we're going to be able to release it on all of your favorite podcast websites like SoundCloud, Stitcher, Blueberry, you name it, we'll be on there.
Right, so SkullFace Radio listeners will get exclusive rights, the first go-around of what we release.
And also, if you want to help out the podcast, we're going to set up a Patreon for this. So by the time you're hearing this episode, the Patreon will be up. And that'll be patreon.com/Gravedigger Radio.
And we just ask that if you like what you hear, you're into the same kind of spooky nonsense that we are, just give us a buck. You don't know how much that helps us to get covered for all of our hosting fees and all that stuff and the materials and effort it takes to make a podcast. Even $1 a month is a huge blessing that we would greatly appreciate.
And as we get things set up and rolling with the Patreon, we'll have cool rewards for you guys at home, like t-shirts, stickers, and various promotional things as we kind of evolve this podcast and it gains some steam.
Awesome.
So, the Fresno Nightwalker.
Fresno, is it in California?
Yeah, Fresno Nightcrawlers. I think the Fresno Nightwalkers are probably their like local prostitutes or something. That's a totally different creature. That's a whole different podcast.
Nightcrawlers, okay.
Yes, the Nightcrawler. And these things, they're super cute. I think so.
Cute?
Well, in a video or a picture of them, I think if I saw them walking across the yard, I'd probably shit my pants.
You'd be grabbing your shotgun.
Oh, absolutely. So, for those that don't know, the Fresno Nightwalkers, it says they're between 3 to 4 feet tall, and they are like white or gray. All the pictures of them have been through CCTV or just different photography.
Are they a little bit luminescent? Like the videos I've seen, it's almost like you can pick them out from the darkness, almost as if they have some kind of glowy quality.
Yeah, they really stand out from the background. Everything kind of around them, these guys really kind of pop. But what's interesting about them is that they're all legs. They're basically just two giant legs and a little tiny body or head and these two big black eyes on them.
Yeah, joined at the top by kind of like a bulbous round something. And from that, they're split, almost like the old time clothespins.
Yeah.
If you could imagine those old school wooden clothespins walking down your street at night, but like 3 or 4 feet tall.
Or even like a pair of pants that came to life.
Right.
And that's what some people have said is trying to kind of disprove these things is that it's somebody's like pair of pants or something that they've made walk. And if you watch the videos, we'll have them on our Facebook page so that you guys can check them out too. But the way these things move is just so unnatural. It's almost like they don't have knees and they just kind of float and walk the way they, like I said, they kind of float across the yard.
I'm really bad about washing my blue jeans. I'll wear them for like a week at a time, not throw them in the wash. And they probably could walk on their own, but they don't glow and they're not a cryptid.
I don't know, man. I think the CDC's wanted to study them for at least something. So originally, the Fresno Nightwalkers appeared in a 1990s homeowner's CCTV. So this guy at night, his dogs were going crazy. They were always barking at something. They would look and try to figure out what it was, thinking maybe it's an animal or somebody. Nothing was ever around. So he sets up a home video or a security camera on the outside of his house over his garage. Well, that night, the dogs are going crazy. He looks out there, doesn't really see anything. And so he goes back and he watches the recording of it. And on the recording, the video is kind of grainy, but you can clearly make out this, I don't know, it's a two-legged creature kind of floating, walking, shimmering across the yard. Yeah. And it's, like I said, I think they're kind of cute, but I'm also watching it through a video to where if you looked out and saw just this random creature.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but for some reason to me, like aliens and monsters that don't have arms and are just two legs kind of going, I don't know why, but that freaks me out more.
Well, you say they're cute. I'm like, is that because they're like kind of non-threatening? Like, how would it kick my ass if it wanted to?
Yeah, because when you watch them walking, and we'll talk about the Yosemite video in a little bit, where you see two of them, they really don't seem to care too much, and they really don't seem to be interacting with the environment. They're just kind of bebopping and fucking off through the yard. Like it's, they're just there, just going about their business.
Yeah, I think that's the video I've seen, so it'll be good to talk about.
So the interesting part about the Fresno video is that it's been studied a whole lot. I think it was on the Sci-Fi Channel's Fact or Fake. And they couldn't ever replicate the video. They could not make something that moved in the same way this creature did.
Right. It's weird because, again, listeners, you should go out and Google this and get on YouTube and find the videos. But watching the movements, it's so unnatural and it's so weird. I don't know how you would replicate this. Like if you were trying to perpetrate a hoax, we're always looking out for that. It's so well done if it is a hoax. It's so bizarre that you can't wrap your head around.
Well, and especially too at the time that the video's timestamped for, they're really, this is a kind of a pre-YouTube era. And a lot of
early doors.
CGI, nowadays everybody's got access to Photoshop and various CGI kind of stuff. This was totally just kind of out there. It was beyond anything at the time. I mean, as far as just the average person would have. And two, in a lot of these hoax situations, the people behind it, they kind of want the publicity or want to put it out there.
Yeah.
And the homeowner for this, he was very hush-hush. He did not want his name mentioned, but he was like, look at this. This is super weird. And if anybody has any information on it, let me know. I want to know what's stalking through the yard. But to me, the interesting part is the dogs were going crazy a lot, but he only caught it one time. So it's hard to say how these things move, how they interact. But it's really cool. Well, so
and that wasn't the only sighting, right?
No,
there have been more.
Well, no, there have been sightings
the same kind of weird thing
in other parts of California, Indiana, Poland. Though I wasn't able to find out much information on the Poland creatures. But the other video that's arguably even more famous than the original Fresno Nightwalker is actually footage recorded at Yosemite National Park. So in 2011, apparently there was kind of a rash of trespassers that were coming through, tearing up the area, littering, and just kind of being a nuisance.
People are...
Exactly. And so the park rangers, they're like, well, we're going to catch these people. We're going to figure out who it is, and we're going to keep them out of here. So they decided to set up some security cameras down the trails. Well, they managed to catch 2 of these night walkers.
Okay, this is the one.
God, I keep calling them night walkers. It's the night crawlers.
Night crawler.
And so...
Not the X-Man.
Exactly. I know. I almost, I was wondering if the Nightcrawler, if these were any kind of basis on the X-Men
I think he
character.
predates this.
Yeah. He's before this.
60s character.
And I'm not sure why they call them the Nightcrawlers, because they walk there. I mean, they walk pretty well. They don't seem, they're not even worm-like or anything.
It's like the one thing they do is walk.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so they end up getting these two creatures on security camera. And you see them just walking down the trail, and it appears that there's a larger one, and size estimates put these things at about 3 to 4 feet tall, the big ones, the one that was on the Fresno camera and the one that was on the Yosemite camera.
Just based on how they compare to the backgrounds and stuff. Okay.
But if you watch the video, there's also a smaller one that they think is about 2 feet tall.
Like a little baby night crawler.
And so you see, it's kind of cool because you see the big one, he's just kind of moseying through, but the little one, he's like getting along with it. Like he's trying to keep up or go somewhere with these things. And
Dad, slow down.
Yeah, I know. It's really super fascinating about these things.
And this is the one, because they're coming down kind of a little bit of a slope, kind of coming downhill, like from left to right in the video, if I remember correctly.
And you can actually see them really well. And
they pass through the tree thing, and very normal. I mean, normal looking.
Yeah. And what's really interesting about these things, though, is that there are vague reports of people kind of thinking they maybe saw one, but for the most part, they've only really ever been captured, at least these particular ones, ever been seen on camera, which lends a lot of credence to things like them potentially being aliens or spirits.
Okay.
Because there's actually a lot of theory about aliens that, you know, the reason we don't really see aliens is because they wouldn't even register to our brains as being aliens or being a creature. And there's also the concept of like multi-dimensional beings that the only time we really see them is when there's kind of like the two realities are kind of thin or close together, and the veil kind of splits a little bit, and you get a glimpse of these creatures in there.
That was going to be my big question for this episode, because I don't know this much about these creatures. I've seen the videos and the weird stuff, but like I never could pin down, are they cryptid? Like they're just like an unknown species that exists in the natural world, or are they alien, or are they spiritual?
Well, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but due to Native American myth.
Oh, here we go again.
Exactly. I know. We're gonna, as I was saying, 3 episodes now talking about, you know, Native American myth and everything.
Yeah.
Is that they are, like I said, I'll dive deep into this on the next section of it, but they're believed to have been here for as long as humanity, for as long as kind of the natural world has been around.
Okay.
And so I think because of that, they tend to fall more into the cryptids. But then by that statement too, you know, the whole lizard people, which we'll have a whole episode on the lizard people, aliens that have been around and kind of shaped humanity from the dawn of time, are aliens cryptids. And that's kind of a whole nother kind of, speaking of night crawlers, a whole nother can of worms to open up. So, well, in these 2 videos, they seem to be about 3 to 4 feet tall. There are reports of similar creatures up to like 6 to 7 feet tall.
Oh, wow.
And it's believed that the Carmel area...
a tall drink of water.
I know. And it's like at 2 to 3 feet tall, watching these things kind of run around, I think they're cute. At 7 feet tall, I don't like it anymore. I think it's terrible. And so the Carmel area, which is, I didn't know this, something Carmel by the Sea area of California, there was a 60-year-old Marine or ex-Marine and his wife were driving along one night, and they reported seeing the 7 foot tall creature kind of cross the road near their house. And they basically described a night crawler. They said it had a small head, 2 big black eyes, and it was 90% legs.
That's the same way I like my women.
When he was kind of interviewed about this creature, he reported, "We recently bought a place in Fort Hill area in southeast Highland County. We first noticed about 30 days of living there that we suddenly have a perfect circle that stays fresh green no matter what weather in our front yard. On Friday night, the 12th, we were driving home after returning on Carmel Road, which leads to our road. We went around the curve by the Carmel Church, up a small incline, and approximately 10 feet over the incline, and in front of our truck, the alien ran across the road into the woods." So, I mean, for the most part, I tend to think that, people that are, especially an ex-Marine, he's going to be kind of no nonsense and less likely to imagine things. And so for them to give such an interesting description in this area of a creature that sounded just, like the Nightcrawler, it lends some credence to me. But there was also, I want to say it was Indiana, there was a woman, she said she was driving along and she saw another 6 foot tall white gray creature that was all legs just standing by the side of the road. And so it's kind of neat that a lot of the sightings are in the Pacific West, but that people are seeing similar things kind of all over the country, all over the world. But going back to the Native American connection with it, is that there are a lot of these wooden sculptures that it's either a person's head or it doesn't have a face at all, but it's just a head and 2 giant legs made out of wood. That is they're supposed to be, in a sense, guardian. And where this goes back to is that there's the belief that they were around since the dawn of time, or at least the dawn of humanity. The reason that they have these big, long, crazy legs is to help them get through swamps and to get through like rough terrain. That there's also the belief that they are kind of a derivative human species, even that are like they were like bog people and developed these crazy long legs to move through the swamps and move through the bogs. And so it makes for a really, really interesting story, I think, to see those. Especially, like, I love old art that depicts these creatures.
Yeah. You said they were thought of as guardians, like guardians of what? Like sacred places or guardians of the earth?
Well, kind of like guardians of Earth. They were, in a lot of their mythology, it's that these creatures exist to kind of bring humanity back to nature and to want to preserve nature.
Well, I'm down with that.
And yeah, I mean, there's really no reports of these things being like terrifying or bad. They're just kind of hanging out, you know. It's like a spooky Smokey the Bear kind of creature, just chilling out there.
Well, that would be a much better spokesman. Only you can. Okay, so I'm hearing a lot about like the Pacific Northwest area. I mean, we're talking about like Washington State, Oregon, North California, that type of area. It's all kind of a rainforest area, actually, kind of a subtropical rainforest zone. And I'm wondering, you know, you hear a lot of Bigfoot reports from that area too, and now the Fresno night crawlers. Do you think there's some kind of like something to that, like why that particular region would either attract or maybe manifest is a better word, some crazy activity that's paranormal or cryptid in nature?
See, that's what I've always kind of wondered about why these things tend to cluster. And, you know, there's also the whole concept of like the collective unconsciousness, to where the more people believe something in an area, the more it's likely to manifest or whatever. I think too, there's a lot of like the wilderness preserves out there.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of areas where these creatures could hide. So that kind of lends more credence to you just haven't found it yet. It's not that it doesn't exist. You just haven't found one.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I'd like to look more into it as well. But I think to a degree, there's probably something with the Native American mythology out there and creating these stories, going down a little history lesson as settlers. And I don't even want to call them settlers, sometimes conquesting, which is, you know, not a good thing.
Yeah.
Moving west. The Native Americans, they had plenty of reason to make up these creatures and as a way to kind of scare off the people coming west, and that's saying, hey, you know, we've got these monsters and creatures out here that you guys don't want nothing to do with, which I think is kind of cool.
They'll walk down your driveway and freak you out at 3 a.m.
You know, going back to kind of what are these things, to a degree, they kind of make me think of the little gray aliens in a sense, even though they don't have arms. But, you know, your gray aliens, which we'll definitely do an episode on the grays, is that, you know, they're little. They're these gray-white kind of creatures with these great big giant eyes kind of coming through, and that they move in a way that it's so unnatural. And that makes me think kind of the multidimensional being kind of thing, is that we're just seeing these creatures and that they're not actually necessarily interacting with our planet or with our reality. And that's why they move the way that they do, because, you know, it's basically like looking through them through a window,
right? In a
sense. And we're just kind of seeing an imprint of these creatures of how they move in their dimension.
This might be going way off the rails, but the thing they kind of remind me of, you know, Zach and I both spent time living in Japan, but the movie Princess Mononoke.
You're going to kill me. I've never seen it.
Oh, well, they've got these little forest spirits that kind of like blink in and kind of fade out. They're the little cute little things, little white. They got like big eyes. They just kind of, they're little forest kami, and they kind of come in and out, kind of blink in and out, and they can hang around. They're kind of cutesy, but they're also these forest creatures, and they're not necessarily malevolent, but they're not necessarily benevolent either. They're just kind of there. They're kind of natural.
Yeah.
Kind of neutral.
Well, I think that's why I like these guys so much, is because they're in a sense no different than a bird that's just kind of hanging out outside, or like, you know, a squirrel you see run off, because they're really not trying to scare anybody. It doesn't seem like they've got much of a purpose. They're just on the move.
Yeah, there's no malicious to them that you know of, but you may screw something up, and then all of a sudden it's two big legs beating your ass.
Yeah, and that was kind of my thing too. Is it what's interesting to me, and say even if these things aren't real, let's, you know, we always try to keep an open mind here at Gravedigger Radio, but like, what is it about the human psyche that we see these kind of creatures pop up in different mythology and see them? You know, I mean, obviously in the videos. But it's like, I wonder what it is that our brain that thinks, well, something with just two legs and no arms is a weird looking creature to see running around out there. I don't know why, but like it bothers me because in the, you know, the Carmel area creature, I'm kind of getting this mental image of this. Just, I mean, I want it to be terrifying for this description because it freaks me out. But the image of these just like this two-legged kind of chicken monster creature kind of running through the woods at you, and it's fine if it's just hanging out. I think they're only cute because they're little.
Yeah.
If they're big, like you said, these two giant legs kicking your ass and like stepping through your car and everything.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not gonna like that at all.
Now we got a problem.
Yeah. But going back to the whole their account from the Carmel area creature and talking about the Native American thing is their comment about having this area, this like was a 30-foot area in their yard that was always perfectly green, no matter what happened to it. So it kind of does go back a little bit to the Native American guardian spirits, the kami that you mentioned, the forest guardians.
And, in Irish mythology, the Fae.
Oh, yeah.
And the little people that would, the fairy mounds and all that stuff, the verdant areas that probably shouldn't be.
Which it's really cool because, I think a lot of, especially obviously this being a horror podcast, we want our cryptids to kind of be scary, but I kind of like the idea of them being benevolent creatures that are just out there that are good creatures.
Neutral nature forces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That aren't there to bother anything. They just want to make sure that everything is going just fine.
Well, you mentioned nature preserves before, or maybe I did, and I was out fishing kind of out in the middle of nowhere with a friend of mine, Mike. This was months ago, but a guy came up. We were just creek wading. And a guy came up and he was also a creek fisherman. There's the always like fisherman etiquette, like, hey, how's it going? You catching anything? Whatever. Okay. Give them their space to fish and you got your space to. But this guy was kind of chatty. And so Mike's kind of chatty. He talked to anybody. And he's like, yeah, I was fishing up in Clark County and Madison County border like the day before, immediately the day before. And he was up in a new nature preserve that they put together. And he claimed,
I don't think you're supposed to be fishing in a nature preserve.
No, he shouldn't have been. And he learned that lesson. Because he claims that he was chased out of there by something.
Really? What did he say about it?
Well, he believed it was some kind of Bigfoot, wood booger kind of spirit. That the deeper he got up Howard's Creek, if you're from this area, you probably know that he started feeling something on the sides. Not in the creek with him, but on the sides up in the woods. And this is a very isolated part of Kentucky. And he started hearing like something moving in the trees and something bashing logs against trees until eventually he was like, you know what, I'm done. And kind of beat feet out of there. And he was telling us that story. And I've never had a Bigfoot kind of encounter, cryptid encounter, but that's like a secondhand account that he has came across. And this is a newer nature preserve, probably in the last 10 years. They've said that kind of kept people out of. It's a beautiful area.
Mm-hmm.
Something to that.
Yeah, that's, kind of, I know we were joking about being like a Smokey Bear kind of creature, but I do like the idea of these nature spirits in a sense. And I really kind of hope that's what these things are. Especially seeing their representation in ancient artwork and just kind of the reverence that were placed on them. I think it would be super cool to see it. I mean, and who knows? They definitely, in my mind, I'm leaning more towards them being a spirit than a cryptid.
Okay.
Is kind of where I'm at. Given that, with a lot of your cryptids, there's firsthand accounts of people seeing these kind of out in the wild.
Right.
Whereas with this, the only real account of it are through pictures and video, which is how you see a lot of, on your paranormal stuff, how people capture pictures of ghosts, pictures of
that you can't see with the naked eye.
Exactly. Yeah. And then, too, there's this whole other concept, talking about not seeing things with the naked eye. We, as humans, we only see certain spectrums of light.
Yeah.
And
we're quite stupid, so to speak, as far as perception.
Oh, yeah. And as you said in the video, they do look kind of luminous, so they do have their own kind of light coming off them that radiates. There's no reason that if these things existed, that they would have to be visible in the wavelength that we can see in.
Right.
And so who knows? They could be out there just in mass and we'd never know it.
Yeah.
We'd never see them because they don't register to our brains. They don't register to the wavelength that we see.
Mm-hmm.
And there's as far as like a psychology thing, your brain is an amazing piece of meat for the most part.
Yeah.
But in the way it works, but it has a self-protective mechanism.
Right.
Of if you see things.
And it's extremely powerful.
Yeah. That you don't understand and that your brain can't comprehend what you're seeing, you'll just forget about it. It will basically like blend your reality around this thing so that you don't have to actually deal with it on a logical level.
That's absolutely true.
And it kind of, take for example the fact that we have a blind spot right in the middle of our vision, but our brain takes the left side and right side and puts those things together to make a full picture.
Right.
So, the human mind's amazing. And so these things could be totally
things
real.
it can do with trauma. Either totally bury it or morph it into something else or normalize it.
Yeah. And so
no matter how extreme.
Who knows? Somebody may have actually seen these things and have no idea what they saw and they're like, I just saw something out in the woods. I mean, how many cryptid stories based off I saw something in the woods are out there?
And that's also why eyewitness testimony are incredibly unreliable.
Yeah, I mean they are, but they're without the eyewitness testimony, we wouldn't even have the basis to start even thinking about these creatures.
Yeah,
and I think every little, even if it's totally not true, even if the story is completely fake and somehow they managed to fabricate,
it's still a good exercise.
Yeah, it's still cool. It's still a ton of fun. And like I said, the fact that they couldn't even replicate the videos for these things, to me, that speaks volumes about the potential validity that these creatures exist.
Well, man, I feel like you've given us something to think about. I would encourage everybody to go to YouTube, type this in, check them out. Let us know what you think. Hit us up on social media if you have an opinion on these or if you have any experience. Of course, we'd love to hear about it. It's very freaky.
Yeah,
very, very freaky.
But I kind of want one. Like I kind of want one that would just hang around and be my buddy.
I mean, if it was cruising around my yard and just making sure my fire pit didn't get out of control, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
hang out all you want.
Well, guys, we hope you've enjoyed this deep dive on the Fresno Nightcrawler.